What's happening, party people? Sorry it's a little dark out here, but feel like I'm in Philadelphia. Raining all the time. Man, it's almost 8 o'clock in the morning. This rain is hampering my morning walk. Can't rain all day though. It's gonna stop. I don't think it can. When it stops, I'm gonna get my walk in. Because I'm trying to keep my heart healthy, Trying to keep it up. I'm gonna talk a little bit about what's going on with me, with the channel. I'm always talking about what's going on with me, it seems like. But let me go ahead and take this inside somewhere where it's not as noisy with the rain. If it rains too much longer, I'm just gonna grab my umbrella and go for it. But my tennis shoes is waterproof, but that don't mean my feet won't get wet with all this water. Anyway, I talk about a few things. One is the tools. Man, I do not have a machine shop that are making the engine press and a couple of the seals anymore. I'm gonna keep looking for somebody that can do that reasonably. The guy that I had in Albuquerque retired. Got a little old, had a stroke, sold his shop to another guy that tried to make the tools a couple times and just was hacking it up. So I had to back out of that deal. But the guy that's retired, he's supposed to show me how to make those tools. So if I get a chance to go back to Albuquerque, I might spend a day or so with him, learn how to make these tools. He's got all kind of machine shop tools, lathes, and all that stuff. And if I get it where I can figure it out and it not cost too much, heck, those machines will probably cost more than I've sold in tools for 10 years, But I do get the serpentine belt tools. Those are easy. I don't know if you guys remember me telling you, if I ever did. The first time I got one of those serpentine belt, little cube piece of aluminum made, I went to the metal workshop. I said, hey, how much for you to make me one of these? He said $92. I was like, $92? Dang. How much for two? He said $93. I said, how much for three? He said $94. I said, how much for four? He said $95. I said, okay, so the first one's $92. Everyone after that is $1. He was like, yeah. I said, all right, well, cut me 50 of them. And I figured there was enough people in the community that can use that. You take, 130, $40 and divide it by 50, it's palatable. So anyway, I sell those on the website. I keep them in stock. I keep them with me. And I get a screw from Home Depot for people to hold it. And it just makes doing the serpentine belt on these early P80 cars a breeze. Cars from 91 all the way up to 91. I'm talking worldwide. Some of these people got these 960s that are 91s and stuff. Same serpentine belt deal. From 91 all the way to 98. From 93 to 98 in the U.S. So keep them with me. If you order them online, I don't know. Something goes on with my phone. I got this weird Kyocera phone that likes to turn on in my pocket. Sometime I'll feel my pocket hot. I'll pull my phone out. There's like 62 screens and windows open. All kind of settings are being changed and stuff. So I don't get PayPal notifications on my phone anymore. I need to figure that out. So I try to log into PayPal every day or two, see if anybody's ordered anything, and go ahead and get that stuff taken care of and shipped out. But anyway, Swedish car parts say when they get around to it, they're probably going to start making those engine upper torque mount bushing press tools. And I personally think that if you guys are in an area that could have a small Volvo community and someone has one of those tools, you guys can borrow that tool. Pass it around, man. It makes putting that press in super easy. As long as you don't put that thing in the wrong way and get that tip of that driving head bolt mucked up, that thing, you can install those upper torque mount bushing. Man, 5-10 minutes. I did a demonstration one day with a young lady in Arkansas. She whipped through that thing in about 8 minutes, pulled it out, put the new one in. Tools make that stuff a lot easier to do. Cam seal tools, crank seal tools. Swedish Car Parts did make the crank seal tool. So if you go to my website, it links you to Swedish Car Parts. I don't get royalties on that stuff. I mean, I'm just glad you guys could get it, get your job done right, and have that stuff behind you. So anyway, junkyard runs. Man, I do run to the junkyard. Sometimes I make special trips for people that need stuff from the junkyard, especially if they got an issue with their cars running. I hate to hear about somebody's only car on the fritz because they need a mass airflow sensor. They can't pay $180 for one somewhere. If I'm going to the junkyard and I can grab that for you and ship it to you, I don't mind doing that. I can't test that stuff though because I don't believe in ripping my car apart just to test the part to ship you. So unfortunately, I gotta hope it works from the junkyard. Drop it in there, ship it to you. Now sometimes a mass airflow sensor is not hard to test, but some of this other stuff is. But I'll go ahead, grab your part, ship it. I'm not, really concerned with making a profit. I just don't like having a loss. Grab a part for somebody, pay for it, then ship it to them, and they never pay me. Or don't ship it to them because they go dark. When I tell them how much the part costs and how much the shipping is, they say, man, it's cheaper on eBay. Okay, so you go now and buy it from eBay after I bought it for you. That leaves me in a little bit of a hole. But, hey, every $5 counts. I paid $10 for this guy part, $15 for this guy part, $8 for this car part. I'm out $30, But, hey, be my guest. Go ahead and check on eBay and these other places. Some of these people have a whole car they're stripping down. They can sell parts cheaper and ship stuff cheaper than I can because they got multiple, user discounts. I'm shipping 2 parts a week. I can't get no discount from nobody. I'm paying, PayPal prices, which runs through Pitney Bowes, which is a little bit cheaper. So I'm going to make a video show you guys how to ship stuff right out of PayPal, even if you don't have a purchase through there. But hey, sometimes it's cheaper to get it from somewhere else. You could grant it that I'm not charging you what a shop would charge you. Heck, you get a shop to go to junkyard get a part. They charge you $80 an hour, $90 an hour. Heck, I'll go to junkyard, check 4 or 5 cars, pull the best one I can find, package it up, ship it. It might take me an hour and a half fooling with your part. I'm not getting $140 off you for a $20 part, I had one guy one day ask me to get him a couple of parts. So I said, well, send me a deposit, because I don't want to be, I don't know you, Send me a couple of bucks. He sent me about $20. Get 2 parts. Turned out one of the parts was bad. The other parts was good. I shipped them apart. It cost me about $12, $13 to ship them apart. So just testing the water, seeing how, he looked at my value to give him that part. I said, hey, you sent me $20. I only spent $12 on shipping it to you. Would you like your $8 back? He said, yeah, great. Send me my $8 back. So I said it was $8 back, but now when he asked me to get parts, that's petty. I'm not going to try to worry about getting him no parts no more. He wants his change. So anyway, that's just getting stuff from the junkyard. I mean, if you need something, some of this stuff's hard to find, like 960 parts, stuff like that. I'll be glad to get them, especially if I'm at the junkyard. However, if you don't send me a deposit, when I see the part, if I remember, I'm going to send you a message. Say, hey, this part's here. If you can't send me a deposit on it while I'm at the junkyard, I'm probably not going to get it because, like I said, I'm done collecting parts for people. So that's that. My move to Cincinnati, Ohio. I don't know if many of you know it or not. Diane and I used to live in Little Rock, Arkansas. our daughter went to college in Jonesboro, Arkansas, ASU. When she graduated from college, her and the guy she was dating, they moved to Cincinnati. He was invited to try out for the Cincinnati Bengals. He went up there, made the team, so she ended up living kind of close to him. She had her own place, and she kind of liked it here and stayed in the Cincinnati area. Well, Diane and I moved to Albuquerque. That's where Diane grew up. Her mom and grandmother was there. So we moved there since I didn't have a real job. I quit my job a few years back. And we moved there to look after them. Nobody was looking after them. So taking care of mom, taking care of grandmother. Then grandmother went to a nursing home, so she didn't need daily attention. She was in the nursing home. And then mom mostly does her activities the first few days of the month. So after a while, I started to help her tours. I would leave Albuquerque after mom did her early in the month activities, and then I would come back before the start of the next month, so I can help her do her 90% of her activities, you know. So grandmother passed away at 101. God bless her. And Diane's niece, mom's granddaughter, moved to Albuquerque last summer to help look after mom. They're getting along great. She's doing a good job. So that kind of freed me up. She doesn't need me there when she's got her granddaughter. So Diane, favorite person on the planet is our daughter Elizabeth. So we moved here to Cincinnati to be close to Elizabeth. So here we are. Cincinnati's going to be our home base whenever we're not traveling. We'll be here probably. Cincinnati's kind of a mixed area for weather-wise, so I'm really going to be looking for some travel when it comes to December, January, February. So look forward to seeing me out west, southwest, south, you know, during those a couple of months, December, January, February. And I think we'll be here a few years, you know. If I had my choice of where I'd stay, I don't know. Probably be North Carolina, something like that. But we'll stay close to our daughter as long as Diane wants to. So that's what moved us to the Cincinnati area. It was not because of the road conditions. I promise you that. A couple people asked about my dolly. Most of you know my tow dolly got stolen from a triple secure situation in Albuquerque. Insurance company paid me a little bit on that, and I purchased another one. So the one that you will see from the videos from now on, and when I went out to Carlisle, that is one that I purchased. You know, U-Haul sells those things. They are in the process of getting new ones with braking systems. They only have a few locations that they sell them from. I think Las Cruces, New Mexico is one of the areas. Turtle Creek or Wilmerdine, Pennsylvania, which is right outside of Pittsburgh, is another location. And there's a few locations. You could go to uhaultrucksales.com, I think it is, and find where they sell those things. They're anywhere from $1,100. I think they're about $1,200 a pop. You know, so I'm a little bit more aggressive with securing this one. The main thing when you got a trailer, you got to have a ball hitch lock on that thing, or you're probably gonna get it stolen. So anyway, that tow dolly is a purchased replacement. I did not recover my tow dolly. The Carlisle Imports and Performance Meet, man, I had a blast there. Several people came to that thing, got to meet a lot of people there. The next meet, substantiated meet that I plan to go to is the VCOA meet, Labor Day weekend, September 2nd through September 5th. That is a Volvo Club of America meet. You know, I think the guy that runs it lives close to New York, somewhere upstate, and Mr. John. And most of the meets are up in the Northeast when it comes to the national meet. I went to one that was in Tulsa, which was, I don't know how often they venture that far out, but most of them I've seen last few years closer to the East Coast. Well, this one is in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. I plan to be there. I know they have a car show time. They may have a schedule of the events on their website, vcoa.org. If you're around, you want to come hang out. I don't know if the car show area time event schedule segment of it is a public event. It should be. If it's not, it's a shame. But you could check with them. If you're a member of VCOA, I'll be there. If you're not a member of VCOA, you want to join, they have some benefits. I hadn't seen any of them because I drive old cars. The only benefit I have that I know of is that I could pay to go to an event. I don't know if that's a benefit, but some Volvo dealerships will honor a VCOA discount, so you can save 10% on parts. If you buy a few $100s worth of parts a year, that'll pay for your membership. So that's a benefit that I get, and of course, it's always a benefit to be able to hang out with other Volvo enthusiasts, see the other cars and stuff like that. That's always fun. I don't let me get you wrong. I enjoy that tremendously. And the national meets, they unveil things from Volvo. Like, I think they're going to actually unveil the first pure total electric Volvo at this one. That thing is going to be limited to 112 miles an hour. It'll get there real fast. People complain about that. But most people don't drive no faster than that, Most people. So I think that's plenty fast. And besides that, the faster you go, the quicker that battery dies. So you won't be driving that fast that long, So anyway, that's where I'm going to be September. That's my plans. I may take both my cars, Queen Bee and Panther, since I got a tow dog. It's almost a 7-8 hour tow. May not, but hey, that's an option. So that's in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. My travel schedule. Man, I am 2 months behind on my travel schedule. One of the things that I was doing was trying to get Panther back in shape from the abuse it receives. The hardest working 850 on the planet. That set me back a little bit. Then this move was a little tougher than I thought. And during my move, man, I had a situation. I've been trying to get this situation resolved the last 2 weeks. It's kind of intense. I thought it was going to be resolved this past few days. It did not get resolved. So now I have to go to Albuquerque to get this resolved. It set me back another 2-3 weeks in my travels. However, I still plan to travel. And there are people that are waiting for me to do so. So here's my new game plan on travel. The first person on the list is John up in the Chicago area. I've sold him a bad transmission. He's been patiently driving with that bad transmission for 6 months. So my first stop is out to John to get that transmission taken care of, swapped out, replaced, and then do a couple more things for him. See a couple people around here. Should take me an extra day, maybe 2, to take care of some other people in that area. And then I'm going to head out to Jose in the Baltimore area. Jose talked me into coming to working on his P2, do some mods and stuff like that. Unfortunately, I don't know those cars as good as the P80s, and he didn't have parts he needed. Some of the parts not fitting and different things. Then we find more problems. Sometimes you go to do a couple of mods and you end up doing restoration. His car's been tore apart since October. So he's number 2 on the priority list there. After that, I'm going to go help Moshi. I'm not sure what we're going to do with Moshi. He's not sure what we're going to do with Moshi. He's got a pretty strong S70 smoking like a train, man. I don't know if it's really smoking, but it's consuming a lot of oil. Valve stem seals are old. If your car has not had a cylinder head rebuilt in the last 10 years, with Volvo valve stem seals, that car is probably consuming oil. His is consuming oil at kind of an aggressive rate. So the plan was to do a cylinder head job with him, but he hauls a lot of stuff around. He's thinking about transferring to a wagon, which would mean he would take the modifications on his car, transfer those over to a wagon, and either replace the engine or do a cylinder head job on that. Now, he did a manual swap about 4 or 5 months ago. He's had that transmission off twice since then. He's doing it, working on it today. He said this is the last time that transmission's coming off that engine. Unless, of course, he swapped the engine. You know, they got these, what they call T9 engines that came in the C70s and T5 cars. 01, 02, 03, people like those engines. So he thinking about putting one of those engines in his car and leaving it at that because those engines are a little stronger. The blocks are stronger. But anyway, after I help him, I'm going to help a couple people in that Richmond area, check on Cleve and Fredericksburg, Virginia area. And then I'm going out to Roanoke, help Dominique. And then I'm probably going to head back to Cincinnati for a day or two and then head down to help someone do a manual swap in Springfield, Missouri. And then check on a couple people in Arkansas, check on my buddy in West Memphis, and then pick up in the upstate New York area, Pennsylvania area, help James manual swap his yellow T5R and help my good friend Manny swap his beautiful red 850R. Then I'm going to slide into New York, Brooklyn area and do an engine swap on the 850 there. My buddy Gregory with that P1800 burned the valve in his 850 manual. His 850 is an NA. A lot of people don't know they burn valves too. So we're going to do an engine swap with him. And we're trying to sort out another guy in the New York area. I think he may be in Long Island or something. Trying to figure out what he's going to do. He's got a 93 850, needs a transmission, which he can have. I got one here. And we one coming out of that yellow 850 T5R. Trying to figure out if he's going to keep that car or is he going to step up to a turbo. A turbo R maybe. He's looking at one out there in the Albuquerque area. You know, then I'll be loose to work on people's car that's running. Check on my Uncle Steve out there, the White Plains area, and then just start traveling different parts of the country, helping people that need some help. But, you know, again, my priority is trying to get to these folks that they got a car that's not running. You know, when you got a car that's not running and that's your primary mode of transportation, if I can do anything to alleviate and help that, I will. You know, so that's where I'm at on my travel gig. Now, my YouTube channel has been focused on providing content to help people, probably I think since 2013. So for those of you that's been watching religiously for 10 years, man, I really appreciate that because that's 2 years longer than I've been doing it. But anyway, you know, through people watching the videos that's helping them out, helping them save money, helping them get their cars fixed, helping them, you know, get other stuff taken care of. Some of these people stress to me their desire to show me a little support as financially. Man, each repair you do at an aftermarket shop is average about $360. So if you do 2 or 3 little repairs, you know, you buy your parts, $100-$200. Labor will be $400 or $500. You're saving $500 every couple of repairs you do. You know, that adds. So anyway, these people was kind of encouraging me to set up a Patreon account, set up a way that makes it easier for them to support me financially. I appreciate it because I don't have a clock I'm punching every day because of the situation, a health situation in our family. I quit work at least 10 years ago. So anyway, I set up the Patreon page by request. I actually set that page up in September of 2018 with 120,000 subscribers plus. I thought I'd have and the people asking me to set it up, I thought I'd get 100 Patreon people in about a year. Modestly estimating it. You could do that for $2 a month. Man, it is going on 3 years. I got 77 Patreon supporters. Man, don't get me wrong. I appreciate it. I'm a little surprised at how that grinds out. But hey, man, I really appreciate those that have done it. And in the past, man, I say month, I've gotten about 8 or 9 new Patreon supporters. At that rate, I'll be at my probably 100, maybe, by September. And, what I thought would take a year took 3, but hey, that's good. And anyway, so Patreon's there for those of you that want to make a donation. Some people get on there, they make a donation, what they consider would be an annual donation, and then they check out, So they get on there, make a donation, check out. If you go to my website, robertdiy.com, last page on there is for tips and donations. Unfortunately, my website is broke. The access codes I have to get in there, I built, probably a couple hundred websites. For some reason, I'd rather tinker on cars than jack around with that right now. So I'm probably going to have that redone and make it have a little store on there for used parts that I may have. People could go in there, buy used parts, check right out, kind of like a small parts website. But I need to get that fixed. Crazy enough, the money that's in Patreon doesn't pay enough to do that, so I got to save up a little bit to get that done and to get that shopping cart put on there. And it'll be a little bit of expense, but it'll make it easier for people to buy parts that I may already have. So I'm going to be focusing on that soon, getting that website. So the address on that website, probably not right. I'm going to try to get that resolved in the next couple of days, because my post office box is now in Cincinnati, Ohio. P.O. Box 14191, Cincinnati, Ohio 45250. So I need to get that updated on that website. Somebody tried to send me something. My mail forwarding should be good for 6 months. April 30th is when I set up this new address and had my mail forwarded. People are already getting mail returned less than 2 months into it. What happened to my 6-month mail forwarding? Anyway, I can get that fixed on my website. But again, you can go to Patreon site, give support that way. You can go to my website, send donations to Cash App or PayPal. Cash App is Robert DIY. Somebody did that recently. And man, I appreciate it. I tell people every $5 counts, especially when you're running around wearing your car out trying to get stuff done. And man, traveling is expensive. On average, a day of travel is about $150 at least, sometime up to $250 if I'm crossing 3 or 4 states. Gas prices so high right now, I actually activated a gas club membership card to save 5 cents a gallon and stuff like that on my gas. But I want to take a minute to thank my newer Patreon supporters. Man, I appreciate you taking the time. I don't take it lightly. Somebody makes concentrated effort to go on there and support me financially, log in there, link up their money and give monthly. That's a special thing to me, and I appreciate it. The newest one, Doug T, he just joined Patreon. Thomas L, met him at the Carlisle event finally. Tony M, Mark, Scott R, Eric M, Steve, I call him my Uncle Steve. He don't know I call him Uncle Steve. My Uncle Steve out there in the White Plains area. I didn't know it. He's a Patreon supporter. Bill H, he's helping me out. Stephen C, Dominic V, Jason C, J.W., and Brian W. And the other guys that have been there for a while. These are just the newest ones. Those other people that's been there for a while, again, thank you so much. Man, I appreciate the help. Now, there's some people that go on PayPal randomly, send donations. Some people do it After they've gotten what I call phone support from me, they'll find my website, call me, appreciate the help I give them, they'll send me a donation. I don't make it a requirement for people to pay me for phone support. I figure if you're working on your car and you get jammed up, you're trying to figure something out that makes you go to my website, look up my number and dial that number, man, you need help. I'm not making a requirement for people to do that. And some people, they really can't afford, taking their car to the shop and doing stuff like that. But then they'll stop, send me $5, $10, $20. Man, I get some people, they know they're saving $1,000. They'll send me $50. Man, I appreciate it. But anyway, David R, Juan C, Ray C, Jamie H, my buddy Willie Gilly, he randomly sends me donations. He always puts on there, go get you some good barbecue. David R, Matthew M, Chris M, Bradley B, Glenn R, and Eric A. I appreciate your random PayPal donations. And then somebody sent me Cash App, Jerry H. And man, again, thanks for your financial support. So what else I got going on here? The Panther coming up on its mileage guessing game. I got about 6 valid entries on that. I told people, hey, if you want to enter this guessing game, here's my email address. Pop me an email with your guess. I got about 6 people did that, and about 900 did it through other ways of communicating. I guess I'm going to have to reel in all those other ones to get them included in the guessing game. Makes it easy for me when it's in one spot. But hey, not that many people entered, so I should be able to manage this. I'm going to go get some index cards, write them on there, put them in the order so that it'd be easy for me to find the winner when that happens. So Panther is chugging along. 2 things are deal breaker for me on cars: no AC and no cruise. Man, I need those 2 things, and man, Panther had both of those things broken this past week. Man, I thought it had reached this last mile with me, but Panther's a hard worker. It deserves some grace, so I gave it some. I got both of those things working. So anyway, there is some tinkering on this video. I appreciate you guys watching, hanging in here with me. A couple things I got to do. I got to empty Panther out and find my gimbal and get in the habit of using that so that the videos that I make, especially walking around through the junkyard, are more palatable. I didn't realize how unstable the videos were walking through the junkyard until I watched a couple with that stabilization with that gimbal. Man, that's nice, but carrying extra stuff is hard to me. I carry a lot when I go in the junkyard, and to add a gimbal with that thing in there just adds a little bit extra. But I'm going to get used to doing it as a service to you guys that are watching every day. I appreciate your daily support. That's least I could do, since I was able to, take some of that Patron and donation money to buy that thing. And then I'm going to get my drone up and running, and I'm going to try to fly that thing every day until I get good at that, and maybe start adding some drone footage to some of the videos. I got that thing a year and a half ago and probably used it 3 or 4 times. I want to get better at that. Then if I get good at it, maybe buy a good drone, do some real nice videos. Last but not least, I have started getting a couple of my videos translated to Spanish. There is, I think there's more people on the planet that speak Spanish than English. So I'm trying to help out some of those people that have a hard time following along with English with some of the videos translated in Spanish. Hopefully I can get more of that done. And I've been wanting to do it for a while. Have not found an easy way to do it. I'm not that versed in learning other languages. I know about 4 or 5 words in Japanese. I know a few words in Spanish. I've been trying to get myself to learn more of it. I just, it's just not me. I'm not that smart. So I got somebody that's translating a few of those for me. So that's where that is. Hopefully those of you that speak Spanish can share those with the Spanish speaking community and help those folks out, and just keep reaching out, helping people that need some help. Anyway, that's where I'm at. I hope you enjoyed the rest of today's video. Welcome to Hanging Out with Robert. That's me. This video contains things that I encounter throughout the day. If for some reason I complete a task and you would like to see the details, you could click on the link in the description area below. This video also contains tips and tricks that I learned throughout the years. I plan on leaving this video accessible for about 30 days. After that, you can view it through my Patreon account. Thank you very much for watching. Kicking off the day, 99 V70R. It looks like Christmas. Guess where we're at? The new and improved two-stack jack with Andrew on the muscle. Man, is this the same color as your 850?
My 850.
This trim, is that the same color or is that lighter?
Looks lighter.
You want to walk a piece out there and check it?
Chase me down.
They got the floor mats neatly stored back here. But this trim looks lighter than what's in the 850 that we need to replace it with. We are up here at Nordic Motors. We're going to see about getting this V70R AC working. It is not cutting on at all, so maybe it's low on refrigerant. Had no idea William works on smart cars. That's one smart guy. Can't tell what he's doing, but I noticed a spring seat sitting here. This is what some people are dealing with spring seats. This rubber gets torn out and not a real comfortable position for your suspension, so you may want to check yours and replace them if necessary. Don't replace them unless you got good shocks, because bad shocks will eat them up in 5,000 miles. Volvo spring seat. They get torn out, and this one is torn totally out. Somebody's driving around like that. So you want to get these before they totally tear out. Spring seat. Bill just drew down and serviced his car just fine. Equipment looks to be working well. We are doing recovery. Recovery 0.13 kilograms. After you do recovery, you do vacuum, and then you fire up the car and do service. Hole in that hose right there from the compressor to the driver's side of the condenser. Probably get one of those from the salvage yard. Look at Will, man. He can stop on the 2x4. All 4 tires. You know why you gotta do that? Because this bug scraper he got, you can't get the lift under it unless you get all 4 tires up in the air. There he is, getting it on the lift. Here it is, folks. Panther. One day I'm posting a video about how much fun it's going to be to reach 500,000 miles. The next day I'm ready to junk it. Wow, how the tides turn. You know, because of how much I drive, there's 2 things I gotta have. One, cruise control, which is acting up on Panther. Hasn't worked in about a month. Haven't had time to check it out. I think I bumped something under the dash, knocked it out. But it was getting intermittent. Not sure what that's all about. Number 2, working AC. The AC started acting up just a little bit. Took it to the shop to make sure it was serviced properly. Vacuumed it down. Won't cut back on. So now, man, I got the mind to strip this thing down and send it to the crusher. But since it's Panther, it deserves some grace. All the hard work gets done. First thing I'm going to do is dig into this AC. I am not getting power to my low pressure switch. So a couple things will cause that to happen. One, a high pressure switch shutting it down, shuts down the signals. 2, an ECU problem. 3, a ECC problem. And 4, something clogged in the system, like the orifices, little piece of plastic that goes in the piping. That can clog up the line And if that clogs up the line, it could cause pressure to build up too high somewhere, cause the system to think the pressure's too high and shut it down. So I have a spare ECU here for 850s. I'm going to go ahead and start the car, see if the AC works. If it doesn't, start magically working. It could have a bad relay in there somewhere too. If that doesn't fix it, I'm going to swap out the ECU. If that doesn't fix it, I'm going to swap out the ECC. If that doesn't fix it, I'm going to get to the relay behind the dash. If that doesn't fix it, then I'm going to start messing with this high pressure stuff. May have to get the system drained back down. Supposedly, the right amount of refrigerant is in there. I was at Nordic. They were trying to service it. They were having issues servicing it. So we shut it down there, took it over to Monroe. I just told them to draw the system down and fill it back up, give it back to me. They told me there's 1.66 pounds in there. Hopefully that is true, and I can get this thing going. Now, I could put 12 volts to the AC compressor and it'll cut on. So I may do that, let that run a couple minutes, and then disconnect it. There's some kind of high pressure switch thing going to the compressor that people bypass. I think mine's already been bypassed by my mechanic in Albuquerque some time ago. Not 100% sure. I got to call him and ask, send him a couple pictures. But let me do a couple things real quick before I call and bug him. Just tried to start the car, wouldn't start. I forgot I took my fuel pump relay out, loaned it to Elizabeth so she could go back and forth to work. So I need to pop the hood, put a fuel pump relay in there or a jump wire, and fire this thing up so I could get the testing. Volvo fuel pump relay made by EAC. That's the part number for these P80 cars. This one is dated the 22nd day of February 2018. So 3 years old out of the wrapper. And I'm going to drop it in here so we can start this car. Man, check your fuel pump relay. If that thing is over 10, 15 years old, just replace it. It ain't worth the hassle. Car running kooky. Fuel pump cutting off while you're driving, running out of gas. It's not worth it. I got the system on, and in auto, it felt like the compressor just kicked on. So I'm gonna go out here and take a look. The air still feels hot. So let's go look, see if the compressor's on. The compressor is on. Sat overnight. Now it's working. See if we get some cold air. And we have cold air. Solve that mystery. Now it's time to figure out why the cruise control's not working. Panther will be back in business. As we can see, my gauges are back to blue. That means my power got disconnected again. And I had put my ground wire back together. So that's why that happened. It should be good to go. My AC still blowing cold. Got that back together. Maybe letting it sit overnight, it balanced out the pressure and it cured the glitch. That thing is still humming along. So let me check on the cruise control, see if I can figure out why that's not working. I come down here to adjust the brake switch, and I'm checking my vacuum lines on my cruise stuff, and I look over here, my whole linkage is disconnected from my cruise. That's not gonna work. So I need to get this hooked back up for my cruise to work, because this thing right here functions and makes your cruise control work. Let me get that linkage reconnected. Apparently, this little lever, this ball socket here, is worn, it won't stay latched on this. So I'm going to put a little piece of plastic on there to make that stay in place and take it for a test drive. I'm going to use this little piece of fabric from a hand wipe and put it on here. I don't know why my flash just went off, but I'm going to put that on there, pop that back in place, and see if it works. Looking at the bracket that holds this vacuum pump on, it seems like this screw is a little loose, so I'm going to tighten that up a little bit as well. Looking at this pump, it's actually out of the bracket. This lip is supposed to be tucked under there, so I'm going to pull this screw, slide this back in there correctly, and then screw that screw back in. I have no idea how that got misplaced. Now this vacuum pump bracket has a lip on the front side and the back side, so I had to pull that screw out, slide that off, slide that in the channel properly, then put the screw back in. Now that thing is solid. It was wiggling around before. That may have been my problem all this time. It was wiggling around, not engaging properly. The things you find strange. Here we go, folks. Test drive to see if the cruise is working. If the cruise is working. Here we are. We're going 30 miles an hour. I'm going to hit the button over here. Up over here. Push the button in. We should be cruising. We are not cruising. Ruh-roh. Might have to check something else out. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.